Does doom scrolling have any benefits, or could it just be a cycle of distraction?
Welcome to Voice Notes Suck with Jay and Dave.
We live in a world of endless content, and it's easier than ever to lose hours to the scroll. But is doom scrolling just a mindless habit, or are we seeking something deeper? Let's dive in.
Dave, Series 3, Modern Life. This is episode 2. Can you believe it? Fingerless gloves. All about doom scrolling. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is a real modern phenomenon. We didn't used to have this, I don't think. Unless you can consider endlessly flicking through a newspaper in the 80s as doom flipping. But we do have a tendency to scroll on social media, particularly things like TikTok and Instagram and these, phones, our phone apps. Just like that, I'm telling you now, everything's such a distraction these days. I am notorious for doom scrolling. I'll scroll, and I realise time has passed. Do you do that? What do you do to get out of it if you do?
So yeah, there's a few things in that. I mean, doom flipping made me chuckle, first of all. I think it is very much a modern thing since the advent of smartphones. I think before smartphones, you had to go to a place to use the internet, even if it was within your house. You had to go to the desk where the computer was plugged in. Whereas since smartphones, you've got the internet in your hand. Wherever you are, whenever you want, the internet is there and in your hand. So it makes doom scrolling easy. Getting attracted to loud noises and shiny lights. It's an easy thing to slip into. The easiest way for me to break the habit is to do some exercise, to get outside, and I definitely do it. We all do it. Anyone that says they don't do it, are they being completely truthful? I'd question that. But getting outside or doing some exercise, that's how I break the doom scrolling when I realise that I'm doing it.
That's good advice. Sometimes when I remember, and I do aim to do, I'll leave my phone downstairs when I go to bed, but I can't at the moment because my alarm clock isn't working properly, so I need my phone to get me up in the morning. So I'm looking to get a new alarm clock so I don't have to use my phone, because when my phone's not next to me when I'm in bed, if I wake up in the morning, I get up better. Otherwise, I reach for my phone, I'm on my phone, I start looking at stuff, and I'm like, I don't get up for ages, and I could. It doesn't make me late or anything, but it does affect my mental state a little bit, and I have noticed a difference. I've noticed a real difference if I go to bed without my phone, because I have a tendency to doom scroll before I go to bed. I'll just go through TikTok. TikTok's a bad one, really, especially if you scroll onto a live stream and something weird is happening. Do you ever get stuck on live streams?
Oh, Jay said a lot there, and I want to address some of those things. I think we need to define doom scrolling first of all. And for me, doom scrolling is going through shorts or reels or lives, content designed to be consumed quickly and then move on to the next piece of content. Or it's looking at controversial posts and reading through the comments where they're a bit emotional, maybe angry, maybe frustrated, maybe upset, but where you're seeing that kind of contradictory and controversial perspective between people. I take my phone to bed, but I don't feel like I doom scroll. I watch a longer form video and fall asleep to it. I've always needed to be mentally stimulated in a way to fall asleep. I've always struggled just to go to sleep. When I was a kid, I'd read a book with the light on and fall asleep with a book in my hand. When I was a younger adult, I'd watch a movie or have the TV on and fall asleep to that. So don't necessarily see that as a problem, but I can understand how it could be a problem. And I definitely understand how waking up in the morning and the first thing you do, go into your phone, is a problem, or can be a problem as well. Like waking up in the morning and just getting sucked into videos before you've even started your day. I can definitely understand how that's a problem and why it's a concern. As I said, it's not something I do during the week, but it is something that I can slip into at the weekends.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because we're talking about doom scrolling videos here, are we? But doom scrolling can also be just like a social media feed, just people talking. Like Facebook's good for that. I'll sometimes go on to LinkedIn in the morning. Why do I do that, Dave? What's going on in my brain to make me do that? Is it being self-employed? Because I feel like I really need to address that situation quite urgently.
So I tried to define doom scrolling during my last message. I obviously didn't do it that well, Jay. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying to do it in your message. Personally, I think it's your feed or your videos or the replies, the comments in response to a video or a controversial post. And it can create a very negative feeling if all you're looking at is sort of negative replies. The LinkedIn thing is interesting. Is it a habit where you're going onto LinkedIn to see what replies you've got, what messages you might have, what offers you've potentially got, and then you just get stuck on the feed, endlessly scrolling with your fingerless gloves on?
Yeah, when I'm wearing my fingerless gloves in bed, especially. It's cold at the moment, isn't it? Price of fuel, can't afford heating. Got to wear your gloves in bed. It's usually just scrolling through loads of posts about AI, because that's what LinkedIn seems to be flooded with at the moment. There's a lot of posts about AI technology, new innovations in AI, new ways to create like 3D worlds and new ways to make videos with AI and AI this and AI that. So I tend to get quite locked into scrolling through all that sometimes in the morning. If I've got any replies, I'll look at those and reply to those. I could probably use LinkedIn more actually, but again, it's a feed, isn't it? It's a feed to scroll through. Just like Facebook, it's a feed to scroll through. Scrolling the feed, like an animal. It's like feeding it, feeding the humans' minds.
It's cold, Jay, and everything is expensive. And yeah, I guess what's happening there is it's almost like the law of attraction, isn't it? Like there's something that your brain wants to investigate, wants to explore, gets excited by, AI in this instance. And then you see some content that's AI based, either positive or negative. And then it's almost like dopamine addiction, isn't it? It's like, I want the next bit of AI info. I want the next bit of AI info. It's content for our brains. It's food for our brains to keep us distracted, maybe, depending on who you listen to. But yeah, just swipe up, isn't it? Whether it's videos, whether it's feeds, whether it's replies to a video or a post, but it's just swipe up, read the next one, get the next one, get the next one. Yeah. I mean, as I said, I'm guilty of it, and I reckon most people guilty. Like it's something you should feel guilty about. It's something that I do, and I'm pretty certain it's something a lot of people do.
Well, you're not supposed to swipe bottom to top, are you? According to the doctors.
I'm not sure swiping is the answer you're looking for there. But oh dear. It's like that, is it, Jay? I can't even remember what I said in the last message now. Completely thrown me.
To be honest with you, I feel like doom scrolling could be more of an issue for younger people who don't have that full grasp of time responsibility. When you're an adult, you have a certain amount of like, oh, all right, I need to stop now because X, Y, Z. But with young people, they don't really need to stop for anything unless they're like, your tea's ready, or time to get up, or any of that. So that could be an issue, don't you think?
Oh, you're definitely right on that, Jay. And it's not just their responsibility and not having to do things. It's the fact that the internet is always on and it's always available. So not only is it something that they can slip into very easily, just sitting there and swiping through unlimited content, essentially, there's no There's no off switch. It's always available wherever they are. They don't even need to be at home. They don't need to be at their desk, at the computer. You know, they can... Anyone, and not just young people, this is anyone, by the way. Anyone can just be anywhere and have access and the ability to doom scroll, to use their fingerless gloves, to soak up all of that addictive content. And it is addictive. Or maybe the content's not addictive, but the premise of continually swiping and continually watching is... Do you find it similar to... I say similar. Have you ever been addicted to anything is maybe the place to start. And if you have been addicted to something, do you find doom scrolling like creates similar feelings?
What is addiction though? You know, is it a personality trait? Is it nature? Is it nurture? Hard to say. I used to smoke, which is not a good thing to do. And I managed to quit when our eldest daughter Maisie was on the way, and I just quit using a book. So can't have been that addictive. So it just makes me wonder whether it's actually addictive or if we just allow it to take over us for whatever reason that may be, whether it's procrastination, whether it's avoidance. I have a tendency to scroll if I'm avoiding doing something. Like today, I'm avoiding getting dressed because I'm chilling out, but I know I have to get dressed soon. But instead, I'll just scroll through TikTok, watching audio production tips and kids singing amazing music.
Well, Jay, I was helping my friend move bales of hay yesterday. So distracted me from doom scrolling for a while, but it also distracted me from replying to you. Addiction's a funny one, isn't it? Because there's many, many reasons for addiction. And I think a lot of the time it's someone chasing a feeling or chasing an experience. Or, like you said, a lot of the time it's one of these two things. Someone that's chasing an experience or someone that's trying to hide from something. And there are many, many psychological and even physiological reasons for this to happen. And there are some substances that are incredibly addictive. There's a little animation, and I'll see if I can remember to share the link in the description. But it's of a bird that's wingless that finds some nectar or some golden liquid on the floor, sucks it up, floats around with some magical music, and then lands calmly back on the floor. And then it finds some more. And every time the high gets worse and the low gets lower. And it's a really, really good example, explanation, understanding. It's a really interesting and good way to look at addiction, to build an individual's understanding, at least from my perspective.
Dave, that sounds well intense, but it would be good to maybe include a link in this particular episode, I think. Do you reckon we could do that?
Oh, I honestly don't know. I think we need to think about intellectual property and rights and copyright and all of that good stuff. Make sure we can, first of all. Secondly, we'll definitely have a link in the description. And thirdly, we could just fit it into the middle of the episode somewhere if we were allowed to use it. And we have to consider our Spotify listeners as well as our YouTube viewers. But I'm game, Jay. I'm game. And I'll find the link and see if I can get it to you in the meantime.
Well, get them fingerless gloves on and get on phone to creator at video, lad.
Well, that is a task for the future. However, I have found the link and I've sent that to you in our private chat, in our just normal friends chat rather than this episode chat. And the question I asked you about, do you see doom scrolling as similar to maybe other addictions that you felt in the past? And I've been thinking about that and sort of how I'd answer that question. And for me, I think it comes back to escapism, which is kind of what we've chatted about. Like it's a reason or an excuse, and I'm using those terms lightly, but it's a reason or an excuse to not do something that you should be doing or that you could be doing, that that would have a much more positive impact than just sitting there scrolling through videos. There's a time and a place for scrolling through videos as well. And I think we should talk about like the upside a little bit, like your knowledge building. You were speaking about you being in bed and watching design videos and children singing, and incredibly talented children singing. Those design videos will help you. So how do you strive to find that balance between helpful video content and doom scrolling?
Ooh, that's a real fine balance. I guess it's like the difference between, I don't know, micro learning, which all goes in, doesn't it? It all accumulates into knowledge. So micro learning versus micro dosing, which is almost like the equivalent of watching a silly cat video or someone hurting himself or a child laughing. Those kinds of videos aren't particularly useful in the long term, but they can help trigger that dopamine. And I guess that's the fine balance, isn't it? You know, it's like you either watch something that's bringing you value and adding to your knowledge and giving you something that you can take into the world, or you're watching something that makes you feel good or makes you laugh or giggle, or worse, makes you get annoyed and angry and frustrated and want to lash out at the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a balance, isn't it, Jay? And I think for me personally, like, I know what content makes me feel resentment or resentful. And I know what content creates that feeling of angst and, you know, like, I'm against the whole world or the whole world's against me. And I consciously switch off from that. However, some of that other content that just makes you feel good, the cute cat video or the young people singing videos, like, they're a positive. It's where's the line? How do you know when watching that kind of content continuously is going to be bad for you and not add any value? Like, they're not easy questions to answer, and I think they're very, very individual. And again, I think it's about awareness and understanding and making sure that you're not letting important things slip by because you're stuck in that content vacuum.
Well, just to reference that video that you posted, Dave, which is really sad, just getting over it now, do you not think that we are potentially desensitising ourselves to things, good and bad, positive and negative, because we're exposed to it consistently and persistently 24 hours a day?
Yes, I do. And I don't know the answer to that. Have you got any thoughts on what the answer to that could be?
I'm concerned that it's one of the reasons people film things where they should be helping or could be helping. I'm concerned that it's created a certain degree of apathy in society for things that used to be quite sacred or mysterious or magical or unique. People don't seem to have that connection as much, it would appear. I could be wrong, but I feel like being constantly exposed to these triggers of content where our dopamine is, you know, constantly being generated. Does it have a limit? Will there reach a point where that dopamine, you need more and more and more, just like that video, to have the same amount of dopamine hit that people seem to crave when they're scrolling through social media?
I think the answer to the dopamine part is yes, Jay. I think that's exactly what will happen. With regards to apathy, I think a lot of humankind is genuinely kind of apathetic and would rather someone else took the risk on of someone helping. And I think there's sociological experiments and studies that back that up. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's kind of, you know, most of humanity would rather watch than act in terms of those situations that you're potentially talking about. But yes, it's still a risk, and it is building apathy. And in regards to people filming instead of helping, I think a lot of that is for their own shot at fame. Our last episode about influencers, like everyone's got the opportunity to become an instant overnight sensation if you just capture the right moment, if you just record the right thing. So yeah, I agree a lot that they are risks, but I don't know how to stop it. We're not stopping video content. That's never going away. So it's about education. It's about conversations and helping people understand what the risks are to themselves of constant content absorption. I kind of like that, constant content absorption, or doom scrolling.
Could you imagine a social media site with videos that only allowed you to swipe a certain amount of times a day? Like you could only do 50 or 60 swipes a day, maybe 100, because it's probably way more than that when we're scrolling through video. But you do that, and then you can't do it again until the following day. Someone would monetize that, wouldn't they? They'd be like, oh, if you pay $1.99, you get 50 extra swipes. But in regards to apathy, I feel like I'd like to use the other word, which is desensitization. You scroll past there's another video of, some people getting hurt in Ukraine. Scroll, oh, look, a cat, wow. Scroll, oh, there you go. It's another Donald Trump video of him signing a new bill that represses people. Oh, look, there's another thing. And it's just desensitizing the population. And that's an issue.
Jay, I think you're definitely right about people monetizing that, and people's dopamine addictions, the want for instant gratification, etc. The things that we've spoken about in this episode would mean that people would pay that, much like people pay for stuff on freemium games for the same reason. And I think that it would give other social media platforms the opportunity to introduce a similar model, and I don't think that's fair. It's my view of what's fair, but I don't feel like that's fair. With regards to desensitization, I don't know how you stop it. I don't think you can stop the amount of video content going out there. And actually, do you not think it's better that people are seeing this stuff rather than it being hidden from them? I understand that there's the flip side where all of a sudden, you just flip onto the video of the cute cat. But yeah, I don't know what the answers are for that, Jay, other than trying to lead by example. And I'm trying to work through this as I'm speaking to you. And it's similar to other discussions I've had recently with other people. And you can't drive change by being the same. You can't enforce change by doing what's already been done. And I feel a lot of the actions that we could talk about to turn down that desensitization would be those kind of dictatorial actions, those forcible actions. It's interesting, and I wish I had an answer, but I don't.
We're pretty much talking about regulation here, aren't we? That's what we're talking about, and it regulating what people are able to put out, or regulating the amount of content that goes out per day, and then who decides who gets to the top and who gets the stuff seen. Is it random? Is it like a lottery? That'd be interesting.
Regulation is never random, Jay. Never random. It's always who do you know, who's your friend. All decisions are an individual at the end of the day. And whilst regulation is supposed to impart fairness, I'm not sure it successfully does that very often. And yeah, do we want to regulate what your average person can put out as potential content for themselves? That sounds rather Orwellian to me.
I think you misinterpret what I'm saying there, Dave. I'm talking about regulated by us. I feel that's possible. Not regulated by some out-of-touch body who have no idea what's going on, but regulated by a community, regulated by us somehow. Don't know how that would happen. Maybe AI could do that. Maybe AI could look at everyone's suggestions and then come up with a solution,
Jay, I really don't like the sound of AI regulating humanity. I like that even less than humanity regulating humanity. And I think I know what you mean, but I think I was jumping ahead to the point where we go overboard and bureaucracy takes over. And again, that nepotism happens because if it's not being done by AI, it's been done by a person, and a person is fallible. I don't think there's a solution either. There's potential bad outcomes, whether it's regulated or if it carries on as it is now. This factory of content that anyone can visit at any point. We've got to keep having conversations like this. That's where I think answers are found in the education, in the understanding, in people being aware of the impact of doom scrolling on their personal lives, on their social lives, on their free time, on their health, on their well-being. And then kind of up to individuals to make the decision. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where there's no perfect solution, one size fits all for society. It's making sure people are aware of the dangers. But I could be wrong, and that's why we're having these chats.
It's an individual change, isn't it? It's self-regulation, self-discipline, self-awareness. Those are the things that ideally people will have access to, and they may not have the toolkit. They might not understand how to self-regulate, might not understand how to be considerate of their own time and of their own choices even. There's always that worry that you doom scroll for so long that your brain melts and starts dripping out of your ears and your nose.
Well, that feels like an appropriate ending point for this episode, Jay. And I must say, rather fortunately, I do not have my brain dripping out of my ear holes or my nose. Anyway, that aside, it's summary time. In this episode, we discuss the phenomenon of doom scrolling, how it traps us in endless loops of videos, lives and comments, and whether it's an addiction or just a habit of avoidance. We explored its impact on time management, the role of instant gratification, and whether younger people are more affected due to a weaker sense of time responsibility. We also debated whether doom scrolling has any upsides, from positive content to learning opportunities, and we asked if we're desensitizing ourselves by constantly absorbing content. Is this a habit we can break through self-discipline, or does it require regulation? And most importantly, should we even call it doom scrolling, or is it just constant content absorption? Thanks for listening to episode 2 of series 3, Fingerless Gloves. Please take a moment to follow or subscribe, like and share our podcast. It makes a huge difference. And feel free to continue the conversation in the comments. You can find all of our relevant links in the description. Jay's been Jay, I've been Dave, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Voice Notes Suck.
You've been listening to Voice Notes Suck with Jay and Dave.